What's up, everyone? It is our first post-draft podcast, and um, it was an interesting draft. I liked it for my Titans, but the consensus in Titans community seems to not like it very much. We'll see how the Will Levis pick turns out. That was a interesting selection, trading up to get him at the top of the second. I think it was amazing value, but
Yeah, me too. I think it was a great pick.
yeah. Most Titans fans hate it because they're also Vols fans, so they hate Kentucky. Uh, it is what it is. I'm an Ohio State fan, so
That's fair.
I couldn't care less. Um. Anyway, let's just go over top 10 picks and how we feel about them.
Yeah,
So first overall, Bryce Young to the Panthers. We were all expecting it, and it was the right pick. He could potentially change their franchise. I think he's probably a Kyler Murray level player day one, and he has potential to be Deshaun Watson in 2020, prime Russell Wilson.
yeah. I think the only reason people didn't view him as a generational player is because of his size.
That's true. Yeah, the injury concerns are real.
But I think if he was like C.J. Stroud's size, then he would be viewed as a generational talent.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And then C.J. Stroud went number 2.
Yeah, that was a bit shocking. I thought it was going to be defense.
Yeah,
Good pick though for the Texans.
yeah. They needed somebody. I can understand it. I would have understood if they would have stayed 2. You know, but a quarterback, C.J. Stroud is big. He's big and Jared Goff like.
Yeah, I'd say in that Jared Goff, Dak Prescott mold.
Yeah.
Like a more mobile Jared Goff, maybe Dak Prescott with a stronger arm.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good pick if you want a quarterback. It's the best
I
quarterback.
mean, he's probably the a Jared Goff level player day one, which is, I mean, Texans needed a quarterback to become a serious team again.
Yeah.
They were not going to roll into this year with Davis Mills as their starter.
Then Will Anderson went number 3, but what do you think about that trade with the Cardinals?
Cardinals got amazing value. I mean, you get number 12 and you get the Texans future first, which could maybe be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I could see the
I mean,
Texans being the worst team in the league.
that's a haul.
Yeah, I think that it was a
Yeah.
terrible trade for the Texans and a great trade for the Cardinals.
I mean, the Cardinals essentially got 3 first-round picks because they also got pick 33.
Yeah, and that's as close as you can get without being a first-round pick most of the time.
Yeah.
But but Will Anderson, I think he will be a great player, just not worth what they traded away to draft him.
Yeah, maybe maybe TJ Watt on the very high end, but I don't know if he ever reaches that.
Yeah, just really good character, really good.
Yeah.
All around. And then number 4, Anthony Richardson to the Colts. What do you think about that one?
Oh man, I think he's gonna develop super well with Shane Steichen.
In
Shane Steichen helped the development track of Justin Herbert. He helped Jalen Hurts. I mean, Herbert and Hurts are great athletes, but Richardson is the best package at quarterback we've ever seen. I mean, he he has a top 3 arm talent right away. He's probably now the most athletic quarterback in the NFL.
yeah, I
I
think if
mean,
you have any unsurety at quarterback, you want Shane Steichen.
yeah, and he's gonna be used super well in the designed run game. Um, I think he succeeds, and which is it's really unfortunate for my Titans. I mean, but what can you do? And it'll be fun to watch, even if he does end up beating my Titans in the near future.
Yeah, now let me tell you a little bit of something about Anthony Richardson. Okay, he has that dog in him. They could switch him to running back tomorrow, and he'd be just fine with it. And you know what? He'd kill everybody at running back too. He is just a
I
great athlete, and he has that dog.
He does.
So,
He does.
well, I guess the Seahawks at number 5 with Von Witherspoon.
Devon Witherspoon.
Yeah,
I was not expecting it, but I love the pick. And you don't need your pass rush to be good if the quarterback can't throw to anyone because they're all covered. And now you have probably a top 3 secondary in the league. You have Devon Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen as your outside corners. You have Julian Love in the slot, and you have Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs as your safeties. I mean, that's an incredible secondary with a ton of versatility.
yeah, I agree.
Um,
Agree.
so even if their pass rush is not all that great, they did get Derek Hall, pick 37, I believe.
Yeah, I think they
Uh,
took him a bit early, but I still think
yeah,
it's
it
a
was
good
it was
pick.
a little early, but I mean they needed pass rush, and he was probably the best available one at that spot.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Seahawks, they won't be my pick to go to the Super Bowl, but if they did in a really weak NFC, I wouldn't be surprised. They're probably a top 3 to 4 team in the NFC. The Cowboys are better. The Eagles are better. Those are the only two for sure. I mean, the Niners, Brock Purdy's out to start the year, and there's questions regarding Trey Lance. So Sam Darnold might be their starter at the start of the year. I mean, that's brutal for a team that went to the NFC Championship last year. And I mean, who knows? Sam Darnold could take them to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be shocked. Kyle Shanahan is that good.
Yeah.
But I mean, Seahawks could be scary. And they also got Jackson Smith and Jigba, so now they have maybe the best wide receiver trio in the NFL with DK and Lockett and JSN. I mean,
I don't like the pick quite as much as you, because I thought Joey Porter was a better corner, and
really?
he went in the second round, first pick of the second round of the Steelers. He's going to be a beast, but I really think that they should have took somebody else like a Jalen Carter.
I would have liked Jalen Carter a little bit more, but I can understand their hesitation, especially with his off-field concerns. So
Yeah, but if Pete Carroll isn't going to fix that, what is he going to fix?
yeah, that's true.
They're underrated signings. All right, and number 6, Cardinals traded back
Yeah,
from 12 to
yeah,
6.
traded back up, and Paris Johnson, which I like that. I like that pick. You need to. I mean, the first area when you're starting a rebuild is the trenches, and I mean they did that. So you needed a lineman. He said he'd start at guard if he was asked to. So they might have him do that. DJ Humphries and Kelvin Beachum is a decent tackle duo. So they might start him at guard and then move on from Humphries after this year. And I mean, you needed to move a guy inside to center because I don't think they even have one on the roster. Like, Hjalte Froholt, I think, is their listed starting center, and he's actually a guard. So it's rough. But you need an lineman. You got a lineman. I'm never going to complain about that as long as it's not a huge reach. But, I mean, the Bears at 10, I might complain about that. It wasn't. The Bears at 10, you might see me complain a little bit about them picking a lineman because I think there were better ones available.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was the best pure tackle in the draft because Peter
That's true.
Skoronski's more of a guard than me.
Skoronski was, yeah,
Just
Skoronski was probably the best lineman overall.
yeah, but just
I mean,
short arm.
Skoronski projects as an all-pro guard, so
Yeah, I thought it was a great pick in part because of all the value they got from trading down and then still back up. They gained so much. Um, and I think if they wouldn't have traded down, they might have taken it 3. So,
Yeah.
all right. And then,
Great to get that extra first round pick for taking the player you were going to take.
yeah. Then 7. Who went at 7?
That was Tyree Wilson to the Raiders.
Terrible pick.
I like the pick. I mean, Chandler Jones sucks. He sucks. He's not good anymore. I'm fully convinced of that. So he has a very immovable contract, but at least at the current moment, you'd probably cut Chandler Jones if you could. But they will after this year. And Tyree Wilson can also move inside. So there's scenarios where you have Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, and Tyree Wilson all on the field at the same time, and the Raiders' interior is bad enough that is viable. Um, like Tyree Wilson is probably their best interior rusher if you put him at interior. So, they corner, like I might have gone Christian Gonzalez, but there were obviously some issues with him because he fell to 17 with the Patriots. So I don't hate the pick. I think it was a decent pick.
Yeah. I don't know. You're kind of starting to convince me a little bit, but Tyree Wilson, I just think he's very boomer bust, and I don't think he'll help them very much now. Do they need help now? No,
Yeah, it's
probably
true.
not. They're going to
I
suck either
mean,
way. But I think you could have gone with
I
somebody
think they're
safe.
I think that's long term.
Yeah, I think you could have found a different franchise cornerstone that would have been a lot safer. And then at
Yeah, I
number 8, of
guess.
course, the Falcons, Bijan Robinson.
Bijan. Yeah.
What do you think about that one?
Um. Usually, I'm not a fan of taking a running back, even in the first round, much less top 10. But Bijan is special. I mean, he's the best running back prospect since Saquon, and he is better day one than Saquon was. I mean, Bijan enters the league as a top 10 running back, probably. I mean, my pro comp for him is LaDainian Tomlinson. Like, are you taking LaDainian Tomlinson top 10? Yeah, you're taking LaDainian Tomlinson top 10. I get they have Algier. Algier had a good rookie year.
Yeah, Tony.
That's not gonna that doesn't prevent me from taking Bijan. The only reason I'm not taking Bijan is if I have a running back with a similar age, like probably 25 or less, on a rookie deal, who is very easily a top 10 back, and that's Jonathan Taylor and Jacobs if he wasn't on the franchise tag. Like, the Raiders had other needs, so obviously passing on him was warranted, but I mean, for the Falcons, who they patched up their defense, their O line's amazing, especially getting Chandler Zavala in the second. I mean, they have the best run blocking O line in the league now, and now you have an amazing weapons trio with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson. So it's all up to Ritter to develop. My high comp for Ritter is like a Derek Carr. And I think Derek Carr can make the playoffs with this Falcons team. So if Ritter develops into that, I think the Falcons could win this division. Granted, I mean I don't think the Saints are. I mean they're so mid. It's insane. And I don't think Baker does good on the Bucks. The Panthers could challenge them. But the Falcons, I mean, would I be shocked if the Falcons won the division next year? Absolutely not. I wouldn't be shocked if any of those teams won the division, honestly.
Yeah, I'm picking the Falcons to win the division. And Bijan, you know how I feel about taking running backs in the first round. I love it. So I think if you don't have an elite quarterback, you need one to win a Super Bowl. You know who won the Super Bowl on my offense in 1973, 1972, 73, and 73, 74? It was Larry Zonka, fullback. And then we had Jake Scott in the DB, got 2 picks, 6 in the Super Bowl, won it. Running backs are essential. I love the pick a lot more than Jameer Gibbs.
Well, the highest paid leading rusher, uh, in the last 10 Super Bowls was 2.5 million, and it wasn't even a running back.
Elite quarterbacks make Super Bowls. Running backs make playoffs. All right. Um,
I mean, Bijan, adding Bijan to that Falcons offense, and now you're putting him with Arthur Smith, who helped develop Derrick Henry into what we know him as today.
yeah.
That's
I mean, just
that's pretty
imagine
crazy.
Patrick Mahomes with Bijan Robinson. Wouldn't that be a Super Bowl team every year? They already are. Yeah. All right. Now, number 9 is that the Eagles and Jalen Carter.
It is. They traded up one spot,
Yeah. What do you think about that one?
and man, how did the league let the Eagles get Jalen Carter? So they're just rebuilding that 2021 Georgia defense. It's insane. They got Jalen Carter. They got N'Kobe Dean. They got Keely Ringo. They've got Jordan Davis. They even grabbed DeAndre Swift in a trade on offense. I mean, dude, it's crazy. The like Howie Roseman, general manager of the century. He hasn't made a wrong move since the Jalen Rager selection. It's been uphill from there. Like he's been the best general manager in the league ever since then. It's crazy. Um, I mean he's like I like this pick a lot more that it was the Eagles because I know they can teach him to not be an idiot. Like if he had gone to Vegas at 7, he he would have probably been out of the league in 2 years. I'm gonna be honest. He would have. Jalen Carter would not have done good in that Vegas atmosphere. But I think in Philly, with a coach that's going to be tough on him in Nick Sirianni, and I mean he basically has his Georgia team back together. He's going to be right back next to Jordan Davis. What an amazing pick, and the Eagles. I said before that I think the Cowboys win the division. I might still lean the Cowboys, but I mean those are the two best teams in the NFC, undeniably. And I could see either of them going to the Super Bowl, but the Eagles could be back for sure. And like I would not be surprised if they won the Super Bowl at all. In fact, that might be my pick.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Definitely taking the Eagles to win the division, but um, I mean,
Really?
talk about an upgrade. I mean, you have Jordan Davis, one of the best run stopping, and you have the entire Georgia defense. You got Jalen Carter to replace. I mean, who was it? Javon Hargrave. That sounds like an upgrade to me. I'd rather have
Yeah.
Jalen Carter, but um, best trenches ever.
And you still have Fletcher Cox.
Yeah,
You still have Fletcher Cox, and he's like, and now Jalen Carter gets to learn behind one of the best pass rushers of the last 10 years, interior pass rushers of the last 10 years. That is insane. I mean, and now it's just going to be a smooth transition. You re-sign Fletcher Cox for 1 year. Jalen Carter gets to kind of sit behind him, go in for 10, 12 plays every game, and you can let Fletcher Cox retire after this year, probably after they win the Super Bowl. And you can just slide Jalen Carter right in there because he will be an upgrade to Fletcher Cox because Fletcher Cox is washed,
Yeah.
but man,
I think it's the second best pick of the first round, right behind Christian Gonzalez at 17. But I love
yeah,
that pick. I
yeah,
think it
that
makes
was
the
that was
Eagles
amazing.
right back, right back. And then number 10, I don't even remember
Darnell Wright to the
Darnell Wright. That is the worst pick by a non-Detroit team in the first round.
yeah. Detroit had an awful draft, dude.
Yeah. What do you think about Darnell Wright?
I had him as like a first to second round player. It's, I mean, it's kind of like not quite to the degree, but it's kind of like when the Raiders took Cleveland Ferrell over Josh Allen in 2019. Like it's the like why not just take Skoronski back in 2019? We were saying to the Raiders, why wouldn't you just take Josh Allen, the edge rusher Josh Allen, not the quarterback?
Yeah.
Um, I Skoronski is just such a better player, and you wouldn't have needed to play him at tackle. Like you have Braxton Jones and Tevin Jenkins, and you have Nate Davis at right guard. You could play Cody Whitehair at center, and you could play Skoronski at left guard, and that's a top 5 O line. Now you're just screwing up your whole O line. Now you are required to play Darnell Wright at right tackle, and now you have to probably move Nate Davis to left guard to play Tevin Jenkins at right guard, and like it was just so clear. You trade down one spot to get Skoronski. And now you let him go to the Titans and Mike Vrabel at 11, who also got Will Levis at the top of the second. Titans had an amazing draft. I'm not saying that out of bias. I'm saying that because they did. Um, like I would have preferred just staying at 9 and taking Jalen Carter. Because your defense, like you had the worst front seven of the last decade last year. That's a really bad pick. I am not gonna say worst pick of the first round because it was probably Jahmyr Gibbs at 12 or Jack Campbell at 18, and maybe Kalijah Kancey or Jordan Addison because I don't know why you don't take Will Levis if you're the Bucks or Vikings, but
Yeah.
that's
Terrible pick.
it's
I'm actually going to go so far as to say it is the worst pick in the first round because I had
yeah,
done
I don't hate that take.
maybe if he was going in the first round, I thought he would go down like mid 20s.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I was thinking like highest for him was like the Jets at 15. And I was thinking that was the highest.
Yeah. I just
I
don't think
mean,
he's that that good. I don't think he's good
no,
enough
yeah,
to go
he's
that high at all in any draft. Unless it's 2013, I don't think he goes that high.
yeah.
It's terrible all round pick. And then I have a couple more I want to talk about before we finish. I want to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs real quick at 12.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Okay. So I liked Bijan to Atlanta at 8 because Bijan is a generational running back prospect. He is LaDainian Tomlinson reincarnated. You're taking LaDainian Tomlinson top 10. Jahmyr Gibbs is like somewhere between Aaron Jones and Jamal Charles. You're not taking that at 12. You're taking that late first, early second, highest probably around 20. Like, do you take Aaron Jones at 20? Probably not. Probably not.
No, not
Like,
at all.
like 25, 30, probably. But I mean, it's a running back who's borderline top 10, that's probably what you're getting in Jahmyr Gibbs. And you just paid David Montgomery 3 years, $18 million to pick a running back at 12. Like you had Christian Gonzalez, Jalen Carter, both staring in your face at 6, and you trade back. You don't even get a future first to take a running back at 12.
I
And
can rationalize it. That's about it.
really,
Yeah, because if you think that in a draft that doesn't have Bijan Robinson, if you think he's far and away the best running back in all these other drafts without Bijan
I've
Robinson,
heard
I can
reports.
rationalize
I've heard reports that he was by far the highest player on their board. Which, like,
it.
yeah, probably because he's a running back, but the positional value just doesn't add up. Like, I don't know, man.
Dan Campbell just likes taking them dogs. And then I want to get your opinion on Christian Gonzalez falling all the way to 17.
Dude, what a steal for the Patriots. And he gets to play for Bill Belichick, so, I mean, any concerns that anyone had, like, apparently people had concerns on him because he fell to 17 and he should have been, like, probably pick number 7 to the Raiders. Like, so obviously he did have some concerns, but those go away. Like, you're giving him to Bill Belichick, who is going to set him straight, apparently. Again, like, I don't know why he fell that far. But, like, he could be better than J.C. Jackson was for them pretty easily. I've always thought J.C. Jackson was a tad overrated. But, I mean, I love Christian Gonzalez in their scheme, and you pair him with all of the Joneses in their secondary, and they have like 4 safeties that are really good. It's an amazing secondary they have in New England, and an amazing pass rush. Like, they could have a very serious defense next year, and especially with Belichick, it's an amazing pick. If I was Washington, like, man, I get Emmanuel Forbes was a good scheme fit, but he's not a good enough scheme fit to pass on Christian Gonzalez. Like,
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's one of the best picks the first round, like
yeah,
last like 10 years, I'd go. It's pretty high up there. 'Cause that it's a good pick whenever it scares everybody else, and that scares me as a Miami fan. That Christian Gonzalez is going to New England secondary, and they got him at 17. That
yeah.
is
I
not
mean,
good. That is the best pick of the first round, in my opinion, by far this year.
yeah, and they got like a 3rd or a 4th round pick to take Christian Gonzalez at 17. They traded back to take Christian Gonzalez. Bill Belichick masterclass right there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And then last thing I want is I just want your brief opinion on how terrible of an idea it was to take Jack Campbell at 18.
Dude. Like, if you wanted a good cover player, just take Christian Gonzalez at 12 and then take Jahmyr Gibbs at 18. No one was going to take Jahmyr Gibbs. I've heard reports the Jets would have. No, I don't think so. Like, why would the Jets have taken Jahmyr Gibbs? They have Breece Hall and Michael Carter. Like, that makes no sense. I don't know, man. That's a rough pick. I've heard reports that he was, again, by far the best player on their draft board. Okay, he's a linebacker. Like, the thing is, just because a player's the highest graded on your draft board doesn't mean you should take him, even if he's by far, because there's positional value, and you don't take a non-generational running back top 12, and you don't take what probably should have been a 2nd round linebacker top 18. And I mean, they kind of saved this by getting Brian Branch at like 56. So if you really just switch it around, you could just do Brian Branch at 12 and move everyone else back. So Jameer Gibbs at 18, Jack Campbell at 34, Sam Laporta at late 40s or early 50s. That makes it look a lot better because I love Brian Branch, and I would have felt comfortable taking him at 12 or 18. But just a rough draft from a value standpoint for the Lions. They got starters, they got really good starters, but it's for the picks they had. I mean, they came into the draft with 6 and 18 and 34. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how you walk out of that with the fifth best tight end in this class and probably the third best linebacker and the second best running back. That's
yeah.
that's rough.
I think that this draft was the worst possible scenario for the Detroit Lions. I never would have expected them have a draft anywhere near this
And they
bad.
took Keenan Hooker in the third for some reason.
Yeah, maybe he can compete for the starting quarterback job with Jared Goff.
You see,
I
but that's the thing though, he's injured. And he's also 25. So by the time he gets on the field, maybe he gets on the field, he'll be 26. And he's not even that much younger than Jared Goff. And like at the very best, you're getting Dak Prescott. And that's not even likely. You're probably getting like, I don't know, like washed Derek Carr. Like,
yeah,
that's rough.
yeah. Just another terrible pick. I was hoping he would go somewhere and be a starter, like if he went to Minnesota in one of the later rounds, like second or third. He probably could have started there after next year.
Yeah, I mean,
But
if like you're not getting better from Goff, Hendon Hooker will never be better than Jared Goff. So I don't get the point in taking him. Like, just write it out with Goff and spin that pick on someone useful. I mean, Keely Ringo was there when they took Hendon Hooker. That makes no sense.
yeah, it was just
Um,
sad draft for Detroit. Sad draft for Detroit.
yeah, I mean, Jared Goff is 29 and Hendon Hooker will be 26. I mean, I'm going to check this because I feel like I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
Yeah. Detroit came into the draft with enough assets to fill lots of big holes on their roster and become a, you know, perennial playoff team for the next decade. And they did absolutely nothing with it. They did the least amount they could with the picks that they had. And
Jared Goff will be 29 in October. Hendon Hooker will be 26 next January.
that's not good. Not good at all.
They're a little over 3 years apart. Jared Goff was drafted in 2016. Hendon Hooker was drafted in 2023.
Yeah. Just worst possible scenario for Detroit fans here.
It's it's mind numbing because I love Brad Holmes and I love everything he's done for the Lions. Like, it felt like everything he was doing made sense these past couple of years, and he was really building something special in Detroit, and it was all just going to compound into this season, and they'd be like they were for sure on track to win the division. I don't know. The Packers had an amazing draft, so maybe they might win the division with Jordan Love if he's good.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Bears have a shot. They're going to have to put up 30 a game, but they can because they have a really good offense. And the Vikings still have a shot, even if their defense is trash. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they were a playoff lock coming into the draft, and now they aren't. And, like, how do you do that with pick 6 and pick 18? Like, you had 4 top 50 picks, and you didn't get worse, but compared to the rest of the league, you got worse. Dude, it's so rough.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for Lions fans, truly. Like, This was supposed to be
And
their year.
if you want to, we can take a
Because he
second to talk about Will Levis.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So the Titans stealing Will Levis at pick 34. Um, he should have gone top 10. Probably at least probably if you went to the Colts at 4, that would have been a good pick. If you went to the Titans at 11, that would have been a good pick.
I don't know that I would have called it a good pick. I think it's the same thing that kind of happened last year where teams never looked at him that good. It's just everybody else did. It's
Yeah,
kind of
I mean, I always thought he was really good. I had him as QB4, but
yeah. I
like,
would I wouldn't have been surprised at all if he went at 4 or the Titans at like 11. But you know, I
I
really
mean,
I can understand why he fell because once you start to fall, it doesn't stop. Just
yeah.
keep on going.
And I mean, Washington should have taken him at 16, but they probably should have taken Christian Gonzalez. But they Will Levis would have been a better pick than Emmanuel Forbes. Honestly, Will Levis to Detroit at 18 would have been a better pick than Jack Campbell, and at 12 would have been a better pick than Jahmyr Gibbs. Um, Will Levis to the Jets to sit behind Rodgers would have been a better pick than Will McDonald. Will Levis to the Bucks at 19 would have been a better pick than Kalijah Kancey. To the Vikings at 23 would have been a better pick than Jordan Addison. Mind-numbing that all those teams just passed on a quarterback that could have got them out of purgatory to take, I mean, for the Vikings, a number 2 receiver. For the Lions, a running back and a linebacker.
Yeah.
The Commanders, the 5th or 6th best corner in this class. And the Bucks, an interior defensive lineman when you already have Vita Vea. And
Yeah.
you already spent a borderline first round pick on Logan Hall last year.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Don't get me wrong. I think it was a great pick. I can definitely understand why he fell way down.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the concerns. His tape was really bad last year, but it's mostly because he had no help.
Yeah.
I mean,
No help at all.
his uh offensive coordinator, or maybe it was head coach, Liam Cohen, left to join the Rams staff when Kevin O'Connell left for the Vikings head coach job. And he lost Wan'Dale Robinson at wide receiver. And he lost I believe he lost a tackle. But I mean, dude, he was having to get that ball out in 2 seconds every single play, or he was dying. Like, at least the speed of the NFL will not be new to him, because he knows now he's got to get that ball out in 2 or 3 seconds or he's dead. And he knows that because he spent a whole year behind that awful Kentucky O-line getting demolished by other teams in the SEC. And he had no one to throw to. His receivers were doing him no favors. He was inaccurate at times.
Yeah, I really think the NFL can only get easier from what he had last season.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Justin Herbert at Oregon, but
yeah,
it's a little bit of a different situation. Justin Herbert, it was more just the scheme wasn't allowing him to do the things he could do. With Will Levis, it's more just he didn't have any help.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw him in 2021 with help, with Wan'Dale Robinson, who is the Giants' 6th-string receiver, and a NFL offensive mind, and a better offensive line, and he was spectacular. And I'd say the current Titans team is probably better than that 2021 Kentucky team.
Yeah.
So if I were the Titans, I'd trade Tannehill. I'd let Levis play out this year, and I'd see if he's the guy because I do not want to go with Ryan Tannehill this year and then like willingly pass on Caleb Williams and Drake May because we have Will Levis. That's not a good enough reason
Yeah.
to have a quarterback you've spent a high second on to pass on two generational quarterback prospects.
Yeah, and I mean he played hurt all last season. He had to get
Yeah.
injections before every game, and then also I'd go
Yeah,
so far as to say the second best player on that Kentucky offense was Chris Rodriguez. Do you know who Chris Rodriguez is? He's the
no.
running back. He's tough as nails too. He was just a big old boy. He fell forward, and that's about all I could give him. Not good enough at all.
Yeah.
Love
I
the
mean, yeah, love him to the Titans. I'd start him right away because if he's good, then you have good reason to pass on Caleb Williams and Drake May. And if he sucks, the team sucks, and you can get Caleb Williams or Drake May, who you know will be good.
yeah.
I'm I'm optimistic that they will trade or cut Tannehill. I love Ryan Tannehill. Don't get me wrong, but there is a certain ceiling with Ryan Tannehill. He will never be better than the 14th best quarterback in the league. He never was. He never will be. So Will Levis could be MVP Carson Wentz. He could be 2021 Matthew Stafford. He can be a top 6 to 8 quarterback in the league. He
Yep.
could carry an awful team to the Super Bowl. Ryan Tannehill can't do that. He is completely dependent on whether his team is good or not, and the Titans' current team is trash. So just let Levis play and see if he can become Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, and then
I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
one last thing about the draft. I'm just gonna Devon A. Chain is the best value pick in the draft because I wanted him in the second round and we got Cam Smith instead, but we still ended up with Devon A. Chain. You ever seen 4.32 speed coming at you?
Well, I saw Raheem Mostert on the 49ers, and that was about 4.32.
Yep. So who better for him to learn from than Raheem Mostert, who we have?
That is true.
The most similar build that I've seen to Devon A. Chain. All right, you got anything else?
Amazing trade. Um, Aaron Rodgers getting traded to the Jets. I don't think we talked about that too much.
Yep, we got to talk about that for a minute.
Packers kind of fleeced the Jets, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Because we knew Rodgers was gonna end up a Jet. So the fact that they basically got 2 high second round picks for Aaron Rodgers, who was either like he wasn't gonna play for them.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I think it was a great trade for the Packers because
Yeah.
there's still an uncertainty because he could not be any better than he was last season because he is getting older. He can still be getting worse than he was
But I
last
mean, last season Aaron Rodgers is good enough to win a Super Bowl. Like the Jets won 7 games with Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, and Mike White. So
Yeah, but I mean, he could be getting worse. He's only getting older. They have a huge contract to worry about now. I think now the Jets have to go and win now. Win now
yeah,
or go and get a quarterback.
just today they signed Randall Cobb. So they're basically bringing back all of Rodgers' old buddies.
Yeah. Well, it's like the same thing with the Jets offensive coordinator now, right?
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, I mean, they got him because Aaron Rodgers likes him. Why does he like him? Because he's a good drinking buddy, ain't he?
I guess. Yeah.
Like throwing darts with him and hanging out. So, I mean, Randall Cobb doesn't make him any better.
Yeah, I mean, he is probably their third best receiver. I
Yeah,
still like Corey Davis, and you have Garrett
yep.
Wilson. So
Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Allen Lazard. I think those three are better.
I
I
think
think
Cobb's better than Lazard. Lazard. I don't know. I've never liked Lazard.
I like Lazard. And then who was it? He was like a rookie last season. Oh, they have
Uh,
another receiver. I can't think of his name.
they traded away Elijah Moore, if that's who you're thinking of.
Elijah Moore, yeah. They traded him
He's
away.
a
What did they
Brown.
trade him to?
The Browns.
Browns? Oh. Yeah, well, the Browns got a stud. Um,
Yeah.
I hate the trade for the Jets, in part because it scares me as a Dolphins fan that they might beat me once next season. Not twice, but
Yeah.
maybe once.
I mean, the Jets, they needed Aaron Rodgers. So even though you would have preferred to not give up as much as you did, you had to. You
Yeah.
had to do that. Because who else were you going to get? You were going to get Ryan Tannehill or Matthew Stafford, who, like, they take that Jets team to the playoffs last year. They take them probably on a deep playoff run. I don't
Yeah.
think they take them to the Super Bowl. Rodgers takes that team to the Super Bowl.
You could have
So,
done Carson Wentz. He's still good. He doesn't strain his
yeah,
ankles anymore. He's old.
we still believe. We still believe in Carson Wentz.
I love Carson Wentz. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks ever.
Yeah, I mean, I was always a Carson Wentz fan. Now I kind of hate him, but
Okay. And then Lamar. Lamar signed highest
right,
paid
yeah,
quarterback in NFL history, like 179 million or 100 something million guaranteed. A lot.
he deserved more than Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts got 51 million a year. So I'm fine with 52 million a year for Lamar. And the Ravens, I mean, they basically had to pay him.
Yeah.
Who else were they gonna get? Like they would have had to trade him away to draft a new quarterback, which I guess you would have been fine doing if it was a top 5 pick and you could have got Stroud or Richardson.
Yeah. But they
But
went Lamar. Um, yeah. It's about time. Congratulations to Lamar Action
oh
Jack.
yeah, great job on him for holding out and not taking less than he's worth.
Yeah. Because
Um,
NFL, very demanding league. He's not going to feel very good here in 20 years.
oh yeah.
Willing to bet on that. All right. You got anything else?
Not really.
Either.
Uh, well, this has been a lot longer of a podcast than I thought it'd be. 47 minutes.
Yeah.
We
That's
were
all right.
aiming for like 20, 25, but I mean it's been fun. I'm not complaining. Um, so I think coming up here soon on my channel, which should be somewhere on this channel. If you go to channels, I think it's on there. I will be starting a review of each team this offseason, and it won't be going in like any order. It won't be going from 32 to 1 or anything because changes happen during the offseason, so I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to go team by team. I don't know if it'll be alphabetical or by division, but I'm just going to go team by team. And I already know I'm going to have a guest in one episode, I'm pretty sure. And Jonathan might join me for the Dolphins episode.
Of
Bennett
course I
probably
am.
for the Cowboys. Luke for the Saints. Should be fun. And I'm currently building a custom Madden roster to show in the background of the videos. And that should be cool to do. I don't I'll stop plugging my stuff
Oh, it's all
and
right.
uh let you go on with your day. Okay. Well, it's been a fun one, and back here next week as always. We will
Yep.
see you in our next one.